Regional School District Planning Board. Ugh. Can that be my report? Ugh. So we are behind schedule. Surprise. Things always take longer than you expect. It's summer, which makes it really awkward to do things anyway. We knew this would happen, but it's harder now that we're further behind. We had hoped to have a draft regional agreement for people to look at, which a lot of it's boilerplate like an RFP, but some of it is pretty important in terms of how votes are taken to let people in and out of the region, pre-K to 6, etc. And so we only have a partial draft. We're expecting to have another meeting in the middle of July where we will look at a fuller draft. Again, town staff has been incredibly helpful in looking at the financial piece of things. We haven't looked at that as an entire board at all yet, really, although a subcommittee's been meeting and taking a lot of town staff time with that, which we appreciate. So, everything is always more complicated than you think. Spending down one grant in an incredibly appropriate way without having to give it back, and realizing we don't have another grant, so trying to book ahead of time some printing costs and that sort of thing that we expect we'll need. Talking about messaging to the 3 different towns, because with the DESE deadline being December 31st, it forces us to do this process in the fall, because again, who's around in the summer? Of the people who are around in the summer, who wants to talk about elementary regionalization? So it's going to be a very compressed time frame, given that in order to meet DESE's timeline at the end of December, we really have to have a vote in November, which we are presuming is going to be in all 4 towns on November 5th, although all the town clerks are checking that because the other towns have to have town meetings on that day, which we don't normally do. Blah, blah, blah. Boring. But the deadlines, again, are December 31st to tell DC that yes, all our town meetings and our special election has approved this moving forward. Then there are multiple stages after that in terms of a transitional school committee working with the current school committee, and then the new school committee under the current draft of the agreement would not actually be elected until the fall of 2014. So there are all these various transition pieces that have to be worked out as to who does what during all these different time periods. But we are also working closely with more closely now, the existing regional 7 to 12 school committee, to talk to them about composition of school committees, because as we worked this through in terms of what our legal options are for elementary composition of school committees versus 7 to 12 regional school committee, which I could obviously bore you with for hours, but the main point is we realized that we might be expecting an awful lot of people to serve a lot of roles, and we all know how many applications we get for appointed positions, and how some years we have significant races in municipal elections, and other years here and in our partner towns, seats go begging, they're just empty. And so it can be, we don't want to set too high of a bar, and we also want to increase participation, not decrease participation. So we are still struggling with how things might match up between the elementary region and the 7 to 12 region, so as to maximize efficiency and access at the same time. Always a difficult balance. So stay tuned, middle of July, next meeting, where we will have more likely walk out of that meeting, the last 6-hour meeting. We didn't walk out of the draft with, but hopefully we will later in July, and we will have a better sense of what we're looking at so that people understand why this would be to our benefit to do it, because we don't want to hold an election for $14,000. We don't think it's a really, really good idea.
Thank you. That's